Hey everyone, welcome to the second episode of the Yathav Show. Today we're going to talk about personal branding on LinkedIn. Yeah, we're going to talk about personal branding on LinkedIn. And our guest for today is Mr. Johan Irwan Kamarozaman, founder of Leadership Academy and author of Komunikasi Warna. Yeah, and he's also a certified trainer, a professional speaker, and President-elect Malaysian Association of Professional Speaker MAPS, yeah. And Mr. Johan also listed on 100 most inspirational LinkedIn icon in Malaysia. You should follow in 2020, yeah. So it's an absolute honor to have Mr. Johan here on the Yathav Show to share about personal branding on LinkedIn. And Johan, welcome to the Yathav Show, Johan.
Thank you, Yathav. Thank you for inviting me.
How are you? How's your day today?
I am doing great. So it's a busy day today, and I think this show is very much icing on the cake to me for the day.
Fabulous. So, Johan, today's topic is going to be personal branding on LinkedIn. And I'm a huge follower of you. You know, I'm following you for a long time on LinkedIn. Yeah,
Wow.
you're doing you're doing very well on LinkedIn. And when I thought about personal branding on LinkedIn, I thought, okay, Johan should be the right person to get into the show. So, little bit about LinkedIn, Johan. Tell us about before we get into LinkedIn. Tell a little bit about your background and your company and what's your focus. A little bit about yourself.
Okay. Yeah. I think my name is just like Yathav mentioned just now, Johan Irwan Kamarozaman. I was trained as an engineer many years ago, and I became an engineer. I started off with technician, and I joined another company, became an engineer, and somehow I don't really, I can't really see myself 10 years down the road being engineer after a few years of working, and that makes me think. And especially in 2008, what happened was there's a financial crisis. So when you have financial crisis, operation got they stopped. They asked people to force to leave and take leave, unpaid leave, and things like that. So as an engineer, no matter how hard I work, there's nothing that I can do. So I always have this mindset that maybe marketing is the answer. So if you become good at marketing during economic crisis, you become creative in marketing, then you can get sales. At least you can at least support the other workers. And then I joined marketing. And after I joined marketing, one thing that I noticed is like I don't have clear direction. So I met my manager, and my manager told me at that time, I asked my manager, can you give me a clear direction? And my manager said that, Johan, how can I give you clear direction? Our CEO also keep on changing direction. So I think from that moment on, I noticed that it is not about engineering or marketing, it's all about leadership. So in 2011, I have opportunity to manage one of the leadership development program. In 2013, I decided to set up my own company focusing on leadership because of there's a lot of frustration in some of the programs that I manage. So I decided to start my own company that focusing on leadership training. So that is the born of Lead Leadership Academy. And until now, I'm doing corporate training on leadership and communication.
Amazing. And now the main topic, LinkedIn. So tell us a little bit about LinkedIn. Share with us because a lot of us onto Facebook and different social network, and you're very active on LinkedIn. Share with us a little bit about LinkedIn. So a lot of the viewers, they might not really active on LinkedIn. They might register LinkedIn account like few years back, but they never log in. So share with us a little bit about LinkedIn.
Okay. To me, before I was active on LinkedIn, I was so much active on Facebook. I write a lot of posts on Facebook, and one of the things that really I'm grateful for Facebook is actually it is a platform for me to spread my message. So I found Facebook is a very very good platform until one of my friend actually asked me whether why aren't you active on LinkedIn. And started from there. I said, what's so good about LinkedIn? Because I thought LinkedIn is just for you to find jobs, right? And when I track back, I registered LinkedIn, I think since 2011 or 2012. So it was a very long time, but it is very much on uploading my resume and about recommending other of my network, and not more than that. So until 2018, is where one of my friends, Bhavani, asked me, why aren't you on LinkedIn? Actually, a lot of people nudged me since 2016, but I never pay attention until 2018. And that is where I decided to be more active on LinkedIn. And when I active on LinkedIn, I noticed that LinkedIn give a little bit more special kind of reward, whereby there is one features that doesn't exist on Facebook anymore. So it was back then, which is the organic reach. So organic reach is all about, your post will appear on wall that not from your connection, maybe your second degree or third degree of connection. So this is something like really, to me, is very much rewarding. So I can get my message even spread across. So I started to be active on LinkedIn, and I started to create some quality posts and make a lot of connections. And one thing that I noticed is a lot of people migrating from Facebook to LinkedIn and treated LinkedIn like Facebook. So that really, initially I was a bit puzzled, but somehow I wanted to tell them, but I'm not in a position to tell them, hey, you are doing it wrong, because of in Facebook, whatever works in Facebook should not be copied in LinkedIn. That is where I started to come up with my own. I'm saying like not so much of philosophy, but my own context of what LinkedIn is and what Facebook is, and why these two platforms are different. So that is a little bit about Facebook and LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is very much powerful in building professional network, and Facebook is all about your circle of friends. So if you look at Facebook, your connection may be someone you know or you meet outside, or someone, at most someone that wanting to follow you because of maybe certain things that you do that inspire them. They wanted to follow you. So you have friends and followers. So as friends and followers, the way you speak to your friends and followers are very much different as compared to on Facebook, where it is very much professional. So professionals, friends and followers, I can say that they may be your peers, or maybe someone who are looking at you for inspiration. But in professional network, they might be CEO, that might be managing director of large organization, they might be peers, they might be fresh graduates, and most of them you don't know. So that's where the difference is. That's why you shouldn't copy paste whatever works on Facebook to LinkedIn.
So that's the main difference between Facebook and LinkedIn. It's a different target audience. Am I right?
Yeah, different target audience, different platform. Yeah.
Okay. Then what is personal branding? Because you're known for personal branding. You're quite popular, influencers kind of person on LinkedIn. So from your perspective, what is personal branding? Share with us so we all can learn from you.
Okay, sure. Initially, when people ask, so how do you create posts on Facebook, on LinkedIn? I never realized that somehow this is something that people look forward to, especially when you mentioned just now, I was listed in the 100 icon and LinkedIn that you should follow in 2020 and also 2019. Especially in 2020, a lot of people started to ask me. And to be honest, I have never had this intention to really put personal branding or whatever it is. I just use it as a platform to express myself. But when I reflected what works and what didn't work, the one of the best way to explain to people is very much personal branding. Personal branding is the easy explanation. So back to your question, what is really personal branding? Personal branding, just like organization, they have branding. And branding, marketing, selling is three different things. Just like leadership and management. It might sound similar, but leadership is not management. Management is not leadership. Which one is important? Both of them are important. Same like branding and selling. Both of them are important, but we need to know the distinction between what is selling, what is branding. So to give a metaphor, I personally believe that Facebook is a platform where you do selling. And Facebook have a lot of features that facilitates you to do selling. As time goes by, I think they added more and more features in order for you to encourage you to sell. The Facebook ads is actually built for you to sell stuff. The groups, there is features for you to sell stuff. Why? Because of with your friends, you can sell. Because of when you start a business, most of the time, your first few customers are your friends. So it's okay for you to sell on Facebook. Okay, the problem with LinkedIn is when you enter LinkedIn, most of them are maybe someone from your organization that you have never met before. Maybe third party that you just connect because of they have some mutual things that you are doing. Maybe you are in the same industry. Maybe you are friends or your connections or something like that. So most of them are strangers. So the problem is when you start to sell to strangers, it doesn't work like you sell with your friends. So the things that missing is actually rapport. You don't have rapport. So that's why in personal branding, what we need to do is, and I think LinkedIn used the word social selling. So you don't really sell, but you social sell. Social sell to me is all about branding. Branding, in a nutshell, there are three things, three levels. The first, this is one philosophy that I get from one speaker I attended. I'm in MAPS, and we did a MAPS convention in 2015. There's one guy from the UK called Mike Blissett. So he was a speaker on stage at that time, and then he shared one thing. People buy from people who they know, they like, and they trust. Know, like, and trust. So to me, if I map back what works in LinkedIn is actually how do we make first people know us, and then like us, and then trust us. Because of after people trust us, they will do business with us. So Zig Ziglar, I think, have this very, very wonderful quote. If people like you, they listen to you. If people trust you, they wanting to do business with you. So the key is how do you get people to trust you? Yeah, that's personal branding, establishing trust.
Basically, on LinkedIn, we have to establish trust first in order to secure deal, or just to build the personal branding.
Okay, interesting questions. Okay, if talking about deals, I personally don't have intention going to LinkedIn and to secure deals. So that happens organically as a result of I'm doing certain things. And if I decode back, yes, I do got a lot of, especially I'm in the training business. I did have a lot of training jobs that I secured from LinkedIn. And the best part is, before this, I have to really pitch. I really have to convince the client why I am good. So it's very difficult when you meet client to tell them that you are good. They need evidence. They need to know a lot of things, and then within 1 hour, it's very difficult for you to pitch. But in LinkedIn, this is a process that you build gradually. Every time you post, it's actually you post something that exposes certain of your values, certain that what you believed in, certain things that really that comes to your mind, your thoughts. So what you want to do as a brand is actually, first of all, is actually to really understand your values. Because of whatever you speak, actually you are portraying a little bit of your values. And this is what most of the time companies do. Companies like Apple, right? They just advertise their brand. They don't sell. They don't use one of the things that people suggest in most of social media is always put call to action. That is selling. I've attended sales program, many of sales program. One sales program that I attended is by Blair Singer. So he mentioned this one mantra: ABC, always be closing, always be closing, always be closing. So closing, either you're closing to the next step or you close the deal, you must close. So in order for you to close, you have to have call to action. So when I shared in my class, especially, I shared that you don't have to have call to action on branding. on LinkedIn. Why? Because on LinkedIn, you are building your personal brand. If you look at Apple advertisement, they talk about what they believe in. This is the essence of the product. This is what the prestige. But they never ended their advertisement with "Go and buy now. Go to the nearest Apple store." No. Look at any established brand, even the local brands, international brand. When they advertise, they don't really have this call to action. Most of the established brand, Coca-Cola talks about thirst. Drink Coca-Cola while you are thirsty, but there's no that go and buy now, get it right now, only for today only. There's no such thing as that kind of call to action. So to me, the essence of branding is very much different as selling. So that is what we do on LinkedIn. We do personal branding until we establish trust.
Fabulous, fabulous, Johan. I think from your sharing, we already, I think the audience by now already know uh, LinkedIn is different than other social network. For example, Facebook. Yeah, it's two different, totally different. The audience, those who are on LinkedIn is different than those who are on Facebook. Correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
My next question to you is, Johan, who now have to get into LinkedIn right now? Who is the is it a business owner or those are looking for a job? Who should be on LinkedIn right now? Because you understand, I'm sure by now post COVID-19, a lot of people are struggling. A lot of people are losing their job, and almost everywhere you can see people are getting retrenched, and then people are struggling to pay their bills. Yeah, and on top of that, companies also struggling to close sales, and then that's the main reason they're retrenching their team. So from your perspective, who should get onto LinkedIn right now, especially during this tough time like this? Who should really get into LinkedIn and leverage on the opportunities on LinkedIn?
Okay, first of all, it depends. The answer is always depends. Everybody can be on LinkedIn if you are clear of your intention of what you want. Again, when you talk about personal branding, if you are desperate or if you want results fast, branding might not be the best strategy. Selling, for example, may be a better strategy if you want revenue now and now. Because of branding will take time. Branding is just like building muscle. I always love to equate leadership like a building muscle. You cannot just enter gym and then practice one day on gym and then immediately get results. Same goes to leadership. You cannot just attend 2 days leadership course and then went out from the course and suddenly you got results. I think same explanation on LinkedIn. You just cannot sign up on LinkedIn and then pitch. I think the recent hashtag right now is ONO. Do you know ONO? Have you heard hashtag ONO?
I think you can educate us, all of us now.
I forgot what's the name because I just recently I googled why so many people hashtag ONO now. But if I can recall, it is a hashtag for open for new opportunity. Okay, so again, the act of know, like, and trust will take time. So you cannot just go into LinkedIn and expect tomorrow people will hire you. So there's no such thing. So it's all about long-term relationship, building long-term relationship, building long-term trust. So to answer your question, I would really recommend if you wanted to go to bring your career or bring your business or bring yourself to the next level, then LinkedIn is a better platform. If you, for example, like you're affected by COVID and then suddenly you are just with your new cookie business and then you try to hard sell on LinkedIn, chances are a little bit difficult for it to work. Facebook might be a better platform. So, so one answer to your one sentence to answer your question is, if you have long-term strategy, wanting to take yourself to the next level, then you'll be on LinkedIn.
Okay, fabulous, fabulous. And you share one point with us, that your investment is RM 180. What is that? That's really make me curious. Okay, what is this 180 strategy? I want to know about it. I'm sure the audience also will be, very curious to know more about it.
Okay, so in my class, I always talk about these three strategy. First is to build your network, because of when talk about networking, it's all about the numbers, and the second is actually to establish relationship with the connection that you have. Because of numbers doesn't mean anything if they don't really interact with you, they don't really engage with you, they don't really having that rapport with you. So that is the second one. And the third one is only we talk about how do you create a message that really spread. So of course we need to build our circle of network first. Adding connections. We don't call it friends on LinkedIn. We call it connection. Adding more connections, but $1.80 is actually the terms that I got from Gary V actually. So Gary V came out with this $1.80. So spend $1.80 every day. So what does it really mean? If you're familiar with the terms 2 cents, so if someone come up with this posting, be it in forum or be it on Facebook or be it on LinkedIn, and then you somehow wanting to give your perspective towards that, whether you agree or disagree, or you want to add something, or you don't agree on some part of it. So you will come up with one long writing, and then you end up with, that's my 2 cents. So it's like, that's my opinion, that's my point of view, and why 2 cents? It might not be valuable to you, but you are hoping that will add some value to them as well. So imagine that one perspective, one view is 2 cents. This is what recommended by Gary V. Is actually to comment about 90 times a day. So I know that it's a lot of time. There's a lot of commitment as well. And most importantly is you have to train your brain to give a perspective, or else it won't be a 2 cents. So what I'm sharing with most of my participants in my class is actually to give opinion, so that when you have interaction, people understand where you're coming from, and that is where people started to notice you, people started to understand your values, people start to understand your message, people start to understand perhaps your maturity levels, perhaps your critical thinking on that topic. And imagine you are doing it continuously. That's how you build trust with the connection that you have. So one of the things that I always see on LinkedIn is people wanting to be relevant. So they just look at other people's comment, and they wanted to be visible. They comment, agree, yeah, that's great, awesome. That kind of comment. I'm sure if you are on LinkedIn, you are familiar with this kind of comments, right? But that comments doesn't really add as much value as compared to you give your perspective. So what we want to do with that is actually for us to initiate a conversation. So if you, I normally when I created a post, and if someone commented agree, I don't know how to reply. Should I reply thank you? Should I reply when people say awesome? Do I say, yeah, you are awesome too? Or how do I reply? So it doesn't end up in a conversation. But if I say that, okay, today I'm so much frustrated with my boss, blah, blah, blah. So I think a good leader and good boss, blah, blah, blah. Example, if you are coming in with that posting, and someone else give a comment like, I totally agree with you. I have this one scenario where my boss is saying like this, and just by using some good words, so you can change the situation all over. That's my 2 cents. So then you can reply, thank you for sharing that. I learned something from you, or it creates a conversation. So what you want to do is want to create conversation. So that is where people started to build trust on LinkedIn.
Amazing point, Johan. Thank you for sharing that. Amazing. Okay, so you already shared with us why LinkedIn is different than other social networks like Facebook. Yeah, and you say if let's say any business owners that want to get those who want to build their personal branding, and those who want to play the long-term game, to really build the personal branding to gain the trust of their audience, they can get into LinkedIn, and that include those currently without job, those who get retrenched, and they can get into LinkedIn right now. They can build their profile, they can build the connection the way you shared just now, and then that will bring up more opportunity for them. Am I correct?
Yeah, yeah,
All right.
that's right.
All right. So that brings me my next question, Johan. Let's say a business owner or someone who got retrenched recently join LinkedIn. So is the LinkedIn profile similar to other social network profile, or we have to take some special care into building the LinkedIn profile? If yes, what are the things that we have to take into consideration on building a LinkedIn profile?
Okay, so on the technicalities part of it, most of the time in my class, I don't really share too much on building profile because of there's a lot of content that you can get outside, and there's a lot of LinkedIn classes that talking about building profile. But since you asked, I think first of all, the basic things that you need to do is actually to make your profile all star. So maybe for those of you who don't know what is all star is all about, then just Google LinkedIn all star, or else if you went to your profile, there will be a meter that showing some progress bar. So as long as that
Okay.
progress bar is not complete, then you are not all star. So why is it important to be all star? Again, if we in order for us to understand one thing, is always good to compare with something else, right? And I like to compare with Facebook because of it's easy because of most of us on Facebook. But on Facebook, it's okay if you don't really build your profile completely. So in other words, if you don't tell which school you're from, where is your hometown, what company have you worked before, it's totally fine because of Facebook algorithm doesn't really reward if you fill up the profile. But on LinkedIn, if you are not completing your profile, somehow LinkedIn algorithm is like punishing you that you won't have that visibility. So number one is always build LinkedIn profile, complete the profile, at least complete the profile and get yourself an all-star profile. Then only you are good to move into the next level where when you want to post, you want to engage and things like that. Okay, so the profile is one thing. Again, I think some other things that we need to pay attention is using our name. So you know, your own. Again, on Facebook, you can use
Nickname.
nicknames. Joe the Handsome or Purple Butterfly or any kind of bombastic names that you wanted to represent yourself. But on LinkedIn, people wanted to interact with you yourself. So being authentic by showing your real name, I think is important, and depends on school of thoughts. Some classes that I went, so they suggest that instead of giving out your name, always put something else. So for example, like Johan Irwan, international speaker, speaker of leadership. You know, you give that after your name. So I have a different school of thoughts on that. Okay, and another thing that being recommended most of the time is people will ask you to, some expert will suggest Johan Irwan, international keynote speaker, professional leadership guru, things like that. And then there is a description down there that suggests instead of telling what position you are right now, what are you really doing right now, they suggested that you put something like, I help your target audience, I help you, target audience to doing some results, giving some results by something that you do. So for example, my name is Johan, and for example, I'm doing certain IT business. My tagline should be like, I help business owner to create double the revenue by having you know managing database in a proficient way, for example. So I have problem with that. Number one, people are playing guessing game. What do you really do? You know, I help salespeople to optimize their sales, double their revenue by sales optimization technique. So the first question that people look at that is, what do you really do? Are you a trainer, or are you doing data analytics, or are you doing or whatever it is? So it's a guessing game. Number one. Second, that is a sales pitch. I rarely see people adding someone on and connection and immediately trust you, and then since you are doing this, I want to hire you now. Most of the time, no. So that's why the philosophy of personal branding versus selling. So we are not selling; we are doing personal branding. That's why I maintain. I'm a professional speaker. I'm a trainer, and I'm a president-elect of Malaysian Association of Professional Speakers. So these are facts. Nobody can dispute that. I'm a certified trainer. I can show you a certificate if you want to. Nobody can dispute that. And at least people know that I'm a trainer, rather than playing guessing games. So I help leaders to develop double their KPI within 2 months with this bombastic technique or something like that. So yeah, so that at least that is my personal point of view on how you should build your profile.
Very good points, Des. And so you suggest that we have to be very specific, yeah, in terms of what job title we are holding, instead of I'm help this, I do that. So we have to be very specific what job title we are using. A good point. And so that's brings to my next question. What kind of profile picture we need to use on LinkedIn? Like clean, professional look, or flavorful, creative kind of picture? Can we get into funky when it comes to LinkedIn profile picture? What's your take on this?
Okay, interesting. Very nice question.
So there's two contrasts here: professional and
okay, sure. This is my point of view. Again, different people might have different point of view, but to me, in branding, we have this term called logo. And if you look at logo, people can easily recognize the brand with just one glance of looking through. So, for example, like in the past, we look at Starbucks as a logo. In the past, the logo mentioned that Starbucks coffee and blah blah blah, and they put a lot of wording there, and then it evolved Starbucks coffee, and even nowadays only just a logo without even telling who they are. So the essence of branding is how do we make sure that people remember the logo without you even have to explain. So that's why I always believe, how do we know a good brand? A good brand is when you don't have to tell the world who you are. So if you look at, I give you examples, Marriott, Le Méridien, or Hilton. So these are the brands that you don't have to tell Hilton Hotel or Le Méridien Hotel or Marriott Hotel. So they don't even put the word hotel in their logo, and you immediately knows that they are hotel and they are premium. But if you look at the least established brand, for example, like I don't want to mention.
Yeah, we can't.
But for example, like I were to come up with a hotel with my name, and have to come up with a hotel Johan. And if I just put Johan without the hotel, people don't know that I'm a hotel. So I have to use that word. So that's my philosophy of branding. Very much that my philosophy is like you have to work really hard so that you don't have to introduce yourself. So that's my philosophy. So go back to your question on the picture. So the picture is nothing but your logo. Why? Because on LinkedIn, everywhere you go, you will bring these three things: your picture, your name, and also your description. So again, why I'm not so keen of using the word of Johan Irwan, international speaker, blah blah blah. It's just the same like the hotel. If I have to tell Marriott hotel, so meaning that the brand is not yet developed. So the key is actually how do you really develop your brand, and the profile picture should represent who you are. So if you are professional, so you have to have a professional looking profile picture. So if you are somewhat creative guy, so maybe you can experiment with colors and things like that. So there's no right or wrong. So but as a rule of thumb, not really rule of thumb, I would prefer for someone to have at least 60 to 70% of the space is utilized for the face rather than the whole body. Why? Because of when you post something, people cannot see your real face unless you don't want people to remember your face, which is truly fine. Because of not all in LinkedIn wanting to promote themselves, but if the strategy is personal branding, at least show your face because of you wanted to promote yourself. And some people on LinkedIn, they don't even bother to put they leave it empty because of most of the time, if they are authority figure, that's okay. Why? Because of, for example, like you are HR recruitment manager, people are looking for you, so you don't have to establish your brand for people to look at you because of people already wanting to look at you. So it's okay for you to use whatever brand that you want. But if you are a job seeker, if you are someone that wanting to establish relationship for you to expand your business, so you have to you really have to use a proper face, proper profile photo. And one thing that I always emphasize is do not always change your profile photo. Why? Just like the logo, you don't change logo every 2 months. So Coca-Cola might change their logo once in a while. Starbucks might change their logo once in a while, but they don't change it often. Why? Because of sometimes people don't remember your name, but people remember your logo. So that's how it works on LinkedIn as well.
Wow,
So
that's really powerful. That's really powerful. You see, sometime on Instagram, we'll go for for some vacation. We'll take some nice picture. We immediately change our profile on Instagram, and then we do the same for Facebook also. Yeah, and
yeah.
then we go for another location, exotic location. We find something interesting, nice backdrop. We'll take a selfie and then put. That's bring my second question. What your take? We take selfie and put it on as our LinkedIn profile. What's your take on this? Can we just take
Okay,
selfie?
interesting.
Yeah.
I don't have a real answer whether that's okay or not. But again,
Uh-huh.
when you building a personal branding is all about the perception game. What kind of perception that you wanted to portray to your audience. So if you are a travel journalist, for example, it's okay for you to put a selfie. But if you are graduates that looking for a job, putting a selfie will somehow create a perceptions that you are the relaxed type of person. You are not the corporate look kind of person. So some organization maybe appreciate that. Depends on where you want to work, where you want to position yourself. But as much as possible on LinkedIn, I always recommend to have a proper profile photo. Yeah.
Good. Very good sharing there. All right. So we already built our profile on LinkedIn. So next is we need to connect to the decision maker or to increase the network. So what is the process there on LinkedIn? Because I saw there's a follow button, there's connection, connect. So what's your take? Is it better to follow someone or to connect someone if let's say we want to build personal brand?
Okay, my suggestion is always to connect first, because of if the other party didn't really approve your connection, at least you will still follow them. Why that is a strategy on LinkedIn? First of all, is because of LinkedIn allows you to have 30,000 of connection. That is way more than Facebook, which allows 500. So in Facebook, I wanted to control because of the moment I achieve 500, I cannot connect, I cannot add friends anymore. But LinkedIn allows you to go until 30,000. And rarely I see a lot of people have 30,000 connection unless they just wanted to add blindly. Secondly is you want to connect with the people that matters to you. You don't want to just connect with any Tom, Dick, and Harry. It depends on who you are and what do you want. On LinkedIn, some people, their strategy is just connect with as many as possible because of they just wanted to, their target audience is anybody. But if you have specific objective, why are you on LinkedIn, you might want to identify, number one is your audience. Number two, the influencer. Why? Because of the influencer can brings you more eyeballs to your profile, to your message especially. And number three, I personally will recommend that connect with people who have higher authority, for example, the CEO. most of the time CEO will not be the person that, for example, in my business, CEO are not the person that decided whether they're going to hire me. But I just wanted to connect with the CEO. Why? Because of, sometimes when CEO's post appears on your wall, so it gives you some different perspective. So this is something that you can learn as well. And most of the time, CEO will explain, because of when you understand the CEO personality on LinkedIn, somehow you understand a little bit about the company organization direction, the company culture, and things like that. So these are all good information. For example, like if you wanted to work in big organization, you connect with the CEO, at least you understand what's happening on their organization. So for example, like I just request connection with some of the CEO, for example, like Tengku Zafrul, which is the ex-CEO of CIMB. And now he's the minister. And now, since he's a minister, he's a little bit more active on LinkedIn. So I got a lot of updates on what's happening on his day-to-day activity as a minister. So it expands my view, and sometimes it gives me a lot of perspective. Wow, these people are really hardworking. So it's not easy to be a minister. It's really hardworking. Every day they have to meet people. So it gives you a little bit a new perspective. And number three is, some of the initiative that being done by Ministry of Finance. So same goes to other companies as well. You understand the culture inside there, how hard they work and things like that, which inspire you at the end of the day. And number three also, your audience, the influencer, the people at the top position, and you also wanting to be connected with your competitor. Okay, why I mentioned competitor specifically here is because of LinkedIn have this function called organic growth. Chances are your competitor will also connect to their clients, which in turn will be your client. So when you connect with your competitor and you active on LinkedIn, and if they interacted with you, so it gives a little bit more, highlights on the content that you try to put on LinkedIn. And of course, you wanted to reciprocate the relationship as well. You wanted to engage with your competitor's post, because of your competitor also might have access to your clients. And I think living in this economy, as we always have to operate with the abundance mindset. Don't be afraid of competitors stealing your your clients, but be afraid if you are not good, because if you are not good, definitely your competitor will steal your client and beat you up. But the only thing for to give you reason why you have to be very, very good is actually by having this kind of mindset. It's okay for competitor to take your clients, and because of at the same time you also have the access of your competitor, and you might want to create the best content so that you can capture their attention, and in turn becomes your client if you have built enough trust with them.
Great sharing, Dan. Great sharing. Thank you. And Johan, see, I'm following you on LinkedIn, and your posts, most of the posts that you post, getting a lot of engagement in terms of likes and comments, and your posts always able to generate a lot of engagement. How you do that? How you so good at content creations? How your posts are getting a lot of engagement? Do you have any strategy behind that?
Most of the time, I don't have that intention when I join LinkedIn. I just, but I always love when people engage, when people interact, because of, if you can measure how good your performance is like, if you can know how good you are, is actually by measurement. And I always strive to write a better posting and analyze what works and what didn't works. And from there, I can produce more content that can get more engagement. So a few tips that I always share is, number one is always be authentic. Because of your writing, somehow actually transferring certain kind of emotions to your writing. And your listener, your reader actually can feel whatever you want to write. So for example, like if I were to lie, explaining something that I am, whereas I am not, so somehow I don't know what magic or whatever terms that you use, people can feel it. And number one is always be authentic. Being authentic, one of the key of being authentic is to be vulnerable. Being vulnerable is actually you just have to open up a little bit. Tell people about the mistakes you have made, and not only just tell people mistakes you have made, but tell people the mistake they have made and what you have learned. Because of what you have learned is actually the value that you are giving to the audience. So if you can come up with this kind of posting, because of most of the time, other people might have made that mistake as well, and they can relate with your post. And sometimes people have not yet made that mistake. At least they learn from the lesson that you're trying to share. So anyhow, you are giving values to the readers. And most of the time, we wanted to take care of our status. No. I just wanted to post good about us. And one thing that I learned from my training journey, the most disengaged trainers are the one that always talk about their past success. I'm successful at this. I'm straight A's. I'm the dean's list. I'm great. I was the GM of this organization. When I'm GM, the revenue becomes 4 times more. So these are the posting that somehow people cannot relate, because of no matter how successful you are, you will struggle at every phase of before you gain that success. But the struggle is the one that most of the time you didn't see people sharing. So if you can share that can be a very much valuable content. So number one is always be authentic. Number two, most of the time I will share my thoughts, whatever thoughts that comes to my mind at that moment of time. That is how I generate idea for my posting. I don't sit. Okay, today what post I wanted to share with my audience? Yeah, not good lah. Okay, maybe that one. Okay. Then I start to write. If you are doing that, chances are people can sense that you are struggling to write that post. So always be authentic, be who you are, and try to share the truth of your feelings, your emotions, and of course there are techniques of telling stories. I love to read a lot of psychology books. I can recommend some great authors. People like Jonah Berger wrote this book called Contagious. That's 6 principles of how to get your message spread. Chip and Dan Heath wrote a book called Made to Stick, how to get your ideas sticky so that people stick to it. So these are some of the good principles to build a good postings.
Amazing. Okay, so you see, once we build the connection with our target, to those who want to, we build our network too, and then we start posting content. Yeah, consistently we are posting contents, following your tips, and then can small business build an engaged audience on LinkedIn, or is it a platform only for personal branding? Because I've seen some of your posts, that you managed to help a lot of small business owners to successfully build their profile on LinkedIn, and that was amazing. Yeah, and especially during a tough time like this, you able to do that. And could you please share with us some of the the success case studies that on small businesses on LinkedIn?
Okay. Yeah, I did conduct this class. I conduct webinar, and I conduct advanced classes whereby we track their progress. Actually, we track their posting. We give feedback on how to create a better post, and yeah, we've seen a lot of results within 2 weeks, and that amazes me as well, because of I have to build my profile about 6 months to get my first sales leads, and some of my participants managed to do it within 2 weeks. Part of it is what I think works from what they do, because of I think credit have to give to them, because of I just share principles. They are the one that came up with the postings. Some of the things that they do is actually they come up with a very good content that where people can relate. And I always call one technique called Trojan horse. Trojan horse is actually when you wanted to sell, you embed it into your stories, so that subconsciously you are selling it without people realizing it. So most of the time, Trojan horse will only will only feel like very obvious to your target audience. So people who are not from your target audience will not notice it like a sales pitch. So this is important because of you want your non-target audience also interact with you, because of maybe their connection can be your target audience or target market. Um, for example, one of the participants is property agents actually. So as a property agents, before he joined, I can see that he's a little bit like struggling creating content on LinkedIn because of a little bit like Facebookish kind of content that generate very little kind of engagement. But immediately after he changed his writing style to storytelling, share stories, share experience, share your behind the scene thing, and immediately he started to get a lot of inquiries. People asked him to sell their properties. People started to inquire about the price of the house, and of course, property is not like you cannot just buy on the spot like that, right? There will be some process. So that's why trust need to be established first. So these are some of the things that happens during this MCO period of time. You know, it's very difficult to sell properties during MCO, but you can generate sales leads. So that's fantastic to hear that. Some of them are selling products like insurance. You know, there's a lot of people that really frustrates me selling unit trust, selling insurance on LinkedIn. I believe that you might have the same experience. Someone told them that go on LinkedIn, and then you know, you can get a lot of customers there, and then immediately they connect with you, and within 2 seconds of you approving the connection, and then there is a message: hi, my name is Johan, I'm from this insurance company, have you have any insurance before? If not, I wanted to share with you this plan, blah blah blah. So that creates frustration. Why? It's not because of people don't believe in your product, but because of trust have not yet exist. So always trust the process and establish trust. Once you establish trust, then people are more comfortable to do business with you.
All right, fabulous sharing there. Thank you. That means build your profile, strong profile, and then start posting contents. You know, like the way you share to us. You know, we start posting interesting content that really add value to your customer. Yeah, and then eventually the sales will start. I think that's how you manage to help some of these people. You know, to be so successful during this MCO time. My second last question. See, we already create a strong profile. We already posting contents the way you teach us, and then we already build a network. Now we all want to be influencers. So what does it take to be an influencer on LinkedIn? Is there any secret key for that or secret mantra?
Okay, so just like any branding, branding will attract people who resonate. So the first step of building branding, most of the time when I teach my student, is actually to clarify your values, because of your values is something that are really consistent along the way. You wanted to portray your values. People will resonate with you if their values is aligned with your values. So in any influencers, you can't really target everyone on earth. You must target specific people that resonate with you to be your follower. I didn't really consciously build a followership, but most of the time, if you ask the question, how do you become an influencer, is being consistent on your values, consistent on your message, and you have one, I call it perjuangan lah. In bahasa, we call it perjuangan. You must have one perjuangan so that people who have the same value alignment with you will wanting to start to follow you. That is where you started to create your tribe or your group of people that interact with you. Just like any brands, a brand must stand for something. For example, like Body Shop, they talk about they are against animal testing, so that is something that they stand for. So if someone who are against animal testing will resonate to will resonate to the Body Shop. Body Shop talks about, I'm not sure, maybe their part of their branding is using organic things. So those who are using organic things will started to align with you and started to follow you. So you don't expect people anybody to follow you. You expect people who have the same value with you, to align with you. So first step is actually to always clarify your value, communicate value again and again and again and again until you get enough traction. Then only people will start to follow you.
Amazing input, amazing sharing. That means post authentic content, keep adding value, communicate the value that you believe in. So those who share the same passion and same value will eventually follow you. That's how you grow your followers. Correct? Am I correct, Johan?
Yes,
All right.
if you can allow me to give me some example. For example, like Ishak Karim, a very very strong influencer,
Uh,
and he did not share. He shared everything about graduate finding job. It's all about career, career, career. So he will attract people who wanted to secure jobs, people who wanted to build career. Another one of I think influencer on LinkedIn is Tahira Manesa. So he have this hashtag of no snake oil. So no snake oil means that anti scammers. He don't want people to sometimes people talk something that not true, not right, like a scammer. So these are the I'm not sure whether she's consciously building this brand, but if I also believe in no scammer, so I started to align with her message, and I wanted to follow more of what she's trying to say next on her post. So that's examples of aligning with the values.
Thank you so much, Javan. I know how busy you are, and you're taking time off from your busy schedule to come and share a lot of interesting stuff with us about building personal branding on LinkedIn. Because you are so successful on LinkedIn, but taking time off and come and share that value so that we also can learn from you. We really, really appreciate that. But before we end this show, if let's say the audience want to connect to you and want to follow you, where they can find you on social media?
Okay. Yeah, you can search me in all of my social media. I use my name. I don't use something else. I will use my Johan Irwan Kamarozaman. And if I'm not mistaken, there's only 2% in the world with the name of Johan Irwan. So I will hashtag Johan Irwan in most of my posting, either on Facebook, on LinkedIn, or even on Instagram. Sometimes on Twitter. I'm not so much active on Twitter. I always believe that different platform attracts different people. On Twitter, most of the time I follow politicians because the politicians most of the time they are active on
And
Twitter.
current local news, yeah.
Yeah, and current local news, things that went viral because of I think the Twitter algorithm is so much awesome, bringing things that viral on Twitter. I have a lot of friends and followers on Facebook as well, but right now I'm very much spend a little bit more time on LinkedIn because of I think I find a lot more I think fulfillment, and actually I can spread my message to more people on LinkedIn because of the organic reach. Yeah.
Okay. Let's end with the show with one last question.
Oh,
If you can give two tips, two the most important tips for those who want to get into LinkedIn, what is the two tips that you want to give to them so that they can take the two tips and then move forward with their journey on LinkedIn?
okay. Number one, personal branding will take time. So don't build your personal branding when you need it, because of the moment you need it, you don't have time for you to build the personal branding. So my first tip is always start now, start build the brand before you know that you need the brand. Because I've seen someone lost their job and then wanting to start on LinkedIn and started to advertise on LinkedIn, I need a job. And when I click on the profile, the connection only 22. So it's very difficult. So build your brand now. Number two is always be authentic. Always be who you are. Don't be pushy. Don't be like a hardcore salesman pushing. Just spread your message and be authentic. Yeah, that's my two things. Do it now and be authentic.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, Johan. I really appreciate all your sharing and wish you a lot of success for your future. And thank you so much. See you see you soon. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for having me for this program. Thank you, Yathav.
Thank you. See you guys on the next episode of the Yathav Show with another interesting guest. Yeah. Until then, stay safe. Have a pleasant evening.